On significant figures in calculations. So let's talk about the rules we use. We use the same rules for both addition and subtraction with significant figures. So for whenever you have to add or subtract, the best thing is you line up the decimal points, like so you put them vertically the way I have them here, and then you do the math. You look for the number with the least decimal places, you draw a line next to the number with the least decimal places, and finally you round off. So let's understand all these rules with examples. So for example, if we have to add these numbers, we are going to do the math first, and when you do that, you are going to get okay. Now here you have 1, 2, 3 decimal places, and in this number you have only one decimal place. So where am I going to round off my answer? Since this is the place I want to round off my answer, I'm going to draw a line here. That's what it says in the rules. Draw a line, and I'm going to round off here. In order to round off, you look at the next number. Since next number is 6, so you are going to round up. This will become 5.5. all right. Now my answer is correct, because here the number with the least decimal places is 2.3, and I have one decimal place, and even in my answer also I have one decimal place. Okay, so this is what you do. Let me take another example. When you do the addition with more than two numbers, so it doesn't matter, it could be any number that you will be adding. Just make sure follow the same rules. You arrange them vertically, like so that we know the decimal is below decimal, and then you do the math. So let's do the math. You're going to get 3, 1, and then all right. Okay, and the next step says draw a line. And then where do we draw the line? We are again going to look for the least number of decimal places, number with the least decimal places. Here you have 1 and 2 decimal place. Here you have 1 decimal place. Yes, it is significant. That is why it is still considered, even though it is 0, but still significant. So 1 decimal place. Here you have a whole number. So there is no decimal at all. So in my answer, final answer, you should not have any decimal at all, since there is no decimal. That is the least. So where do I draw my line? Here. Draw my line here, because I don't want decimal in my answer. So this is where I'm going to round off. Look at the next number. The next number is 1. So whenever the next number is 5 or up, you round up. If it is less than 5, you just leave the number as it is. So my answer here is 166. I know this answer is correct because this has no decimal, and here I have least number of decimals where there is no decimal. Okay, let's take another example with subtraction this time. Same rules for subtraction and addition. We do the same thing. We align them decimal below decimal, and we do the math. That's important. All right. Okay. So when you do that, when you have subtracted, now this number has 1, 2, 3 decimal places. This number has 1, 2. So I'm going to draw my line here. Okay. So this one, 7 is the place where I'm going to round off my answer. Now look at the next number is 9. So whenever the next number is 5 or up, you are going to round up. So you get 4.18. Okay, in this I have 2 decimal places, and here I have 2 decimal places. This way I know that my answer is correct. Let's work on multiplication and division with significant figures. Okay, we have some rules here. You're going to do the math. You always start out with math. You write down the significant figures for each number. So let's start doing it. Let's start it right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These zeros are significant. So this is 5 significant figures here. 1, 2, 3. This 0 is significant, guys. This one, because you have a decimal here. So here we have 3 significant figures. Okay. here 5, and here 3. So in the answer, it says round off the answer to have the same number of significant figures as the number with the least number of significant figures. So my least number out of 5 and 3 is 3. So my answer should not have more than 3 significant figures. When you multiply, when you are doing the math, this is what you're going to get. And where am I going to round off? I'm going to round off because it says 3 sig fig. I'm going to round off here. Now look at the next number. This is 4. So this remains as it is. Okay, no changes at all because this is 4. Was it 5 or above? Then I would have rounded up. So how many sig figs I have here? 3 sig figs. How do I know I did it correct? Because this is 3 sig fig and this one is 3 sig fig. Now look at the next one here. So we follow the same rules whether it is multiplication or it is division. So then in this case I have 4 significant figures, all non-zero digits. And this one, these are both non-zero. I have 2 significant figures. So when you divide these two numbers, you're going to get this one. Okay. In my answer, I should not have more than 2 significant figures. So I'm going to round off here. Now look at the next number. Next number is 5. So when you round off, it is going to be this one. Okay guys. Now here, this one has 2 significant figures. 2 sig figs. This is a leading 0. This is not significant. And same here, this is 2 significant figures. So that's how I know I did it correct. Okay, let's do a few more. When you do the math, you are going to get 519. Oh, so do you really want to report all those numbers? We don't. That is the reason we are working on significant figures. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we have 5 significant figures and this one 1, 2. So in my answer should not have more than 2 significant figures. Okay guys, so what are you going to do here is, you are going to, since it says 2 significant figures, you are going to round off at this place. Look at the next number. The next digit is 9. So you're going to round up. So it becomes 520. Why am I doing that? Because rest, so I do that 2 here and rest will be the 0. Okay. Because we don't want all of those. And these are after the decimal. We don't need to write. So this 519.699 and all that, you write just 520. How do I know my answer is correct? Because it has 2 sig figs. And here this one has 2 sig figs. So this 0 doesn't count. Remember that there is no decimal, so this 0 doesn't count. We are going to do the same thing here. Here it is 2 significant figures. Here it is 2 significant figures. So my answer should not have more than 2 significant figures. Okay guys, so when you are going to divide these numbers, this is what you're going to get. 1.65217391. Do you really want to write all those numbers? No, you don't want that. All right, so what are you going to do? You are going to, since it is 2 sig figs, so you are going to round off at this place and this becomes 1.7. Okay guys, so how many significant figures we have? We have 2 significant figures. So this is 2, this is 2. Okay, now in this case 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 4 significant figures and here this is 1 significant figure. So my answer should not have more than 1 significant figure. When you multiply this, you are going to get 36.96. So I have to round off here since we don't want more than 1 significant figure in the answer. Now look at the next number. This is 6. So what is it going to become? 4. All right. And the rest of them, you just write the zeros. Okay. So this is 1 significant figure. So I know this is correct because they both are having 1 significant figure. Now this is your turn. I want you to try. Okay, pause the video and check your answers, double check the answers.